What's going on, folks? Welcome to Ichabod. When I was a rapper, I had a line. I used to say things like, I'm not rapping to get stacks of bills and rock shows and have the stands packed with girls. What I need with a one night stand, I'm looking for a love to last one lifespan. Anything short of that is sort of whack. Caught on your back in more sacks than quarterbacks. And that's not the way I'm going out. No wed, no bed, so I'm holding out. That was me for decades. But tonight we diving into a whole new series that I'm excited to talk about. And I know y'all gonna have some questions and comments. So before anything, come on into the chat and greet somebody in Reason's name. What's up, Aunt Kathy? Hey, Eddie, David DeBow, what's going on? Good to see y'all. Come on into the chat and let's get ready to talk. I'm not going to belabor the point at all. I'm going to welcome our guest. Welcome, Crystal W. to Ichabod. Back to Ichabod. Hey. Got the coordination popping up, the colors on you and the colors in the background.
Yeah. Look, that's what we doing. You. That's how we do it.
Yeah. Yo, Mo Weed is in the chat.
Let's talk about this boinking after anointing. Like, let's get it.
I love it. Truxton, what's happening? Bat boobs make me smile. What's happening? Good to see y'all. All in the chat, chilling. Crystal, can you see the YouTube chat?
Yeah, I can see the mess there like popping up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good stuff. And we're doing something new tonight. I was just on with Matt Dillahunty and David DeBow put that in the chat. Anybody catch Brady on the line this week with Matt Dillahunty? Well, for the first time, they did a dual stream, vertical and horizontal. If you watch Justin's Deconstruction Zone, he does the dual, vertical and horizontal. I say, let me get some of that action. So tonight, for the first time, I got streaming in vertical and horizontal. So coming. I don't want to start the war like Justin did on his page, but on his channel. Are you watching horizontal stream or vertical stream? Which one do y'all prefer? Because I typically like the landscape. Crystal, how about you? What do you normally do?
Samesies.
Landscape.
Yeah, I like landscape.
But for some reason, there's some people in this world, I don't know who made them. They like the vertical. They like that thin, like everybody's squished and smushed kind of a effect. I don't know. V Loves from the UK. So it's like 1 o'clock for y'all, ain't it? Midnight, 1 o'clock. 1 a.m. Yep. Wow. Nice. Thanks for the love. My Unique Monique, what's happening? Good to see you. All right. So without much further ado, she said, boinking after anointing. So I've got all kinds of questions. I get questions from people all the time. Just about like, what do you do now that you're not a believer? Are you free to just do whatever you want? Do you do whatever you want? I'm going to read some questions from people that have been DMing me in the last couple of weeks, but I'm just curious for you, because I remember from your testimony or your testimony when I interviewed you, you sort of like, you had this kind of like tangential relationship, even though you were trying to be in the faith, you sort of always saw the BS and always kind of kept it at bay. Like, you ain't convinced me just yet.
Right.
So I'm curious, when you were in the faith and trying to embrace it, did you embrace the morals or the ethics of the faith in terms of, I mean, what was it like? What did you think about relationships? What did you look? Because it's not just sex after faith, it's relationships. It's all of that. But when you were around the faith, did you buy into the morals of it all?
I did. Yeah. So I was kind of going with the purity culture kind of thing, like very much still like curious about sex, but it was like, it's the bad thing, the dirty thing, you know? So
now, how did you get the idea that it was the bad and dirty thing?
Well, I think because just like, I don't know, being 9 or whatever, you know, like growing up, like it's, you know, kids always do the ew, right? But it wasn't until about maybe in my teens, like around 15 or so, where my mom was giving me another one of the talks. So we didn't have like just the talk. We had
Really?
multiple at various stages of my development. So the vocabulary changed, the expansion of information changed.
Okay.
So whatever I was ready for and questions I had, that's.
And was it like, ill, mom, shut up? Or was it like, oh, tell me more? Like how, like, what was it like?
So much, it was so both. Like, it was like, oh, this is terrible. Like for both of us. Well, I don't know. She was fine, but she would just say everything and like, be like, yes, vagina. And I was like, cringe. But then I would still ask my questions like, can a penis go in if it's not hard? You know, like, so I remember asking that in middle school. And then by the time I got to like 15 years old and we were talking, she said something that blew my mind because she said, sex can be fun. Wait, what? Like this thing that you all have been like scaring us away from this whole time? I'm like, fun? What does that mean? Like, how do you have fun? Like, I was so curious, but I felt like she told me like a secret almost, like, this is why everybody likes it, because it's fun.
Did she explain how it could be fun? Or was it just like...
No, it was more like, you know, when you're with somebody who's like, who you're really like vibing with, like, you have fun together. And I was like, how do we get there? Like, I don't know if I can get somebody to like to have sex with me. That was sort of the thing. Like I was trying to figure out like how do I get a guy I like to have sex with me, not the creepy dudes, you know, like the old guys who like start looking you up and down when you're trying to walk into Walgreens at 14, you know, like no, like a guy I might have a crush on. Like, how do I get him to kiss me? I want to kiss boys.
So wait, did mom do anything to kind of like when you're older or when you're ready or when you're married, or was it sort of just like, because I think one of the reasons why I just had this conversation with somebody on my Facebook page, a guy who I used to rap with. It's not somebody from Cross Movement. He was around during the beginning of Cross Movement. But one of the things I was saying to him is I think the reason a lot of parents don't talk to their kids about sex is they feel like if I say anything about it, they're going to want to go do it. So if I don't say anything about it, then maybe that'll hold off the onset of it.
Yeah.
So when your mom was talking to you, did she set a future date, or did she think that maybe you're ready now? Like, what was it like? What was she thinking? Do you know?
She was always checking in about how ready I felt. And if I was still like, no, gosh, you know, then
okay.
I think she did also kind of tell how, you know, Napoleon Dynamite I was with it, like that I wasn't quite ready.
Okay.
And I don't really remember like when you're married. She may have, but when I did eventually have sex, it was when I was in college, you know? So at the time she was like, birth control, you know? And after we had that discussion, another one of our conversations was more like, do you feel disappointed in me, or what do you think? You know? And she was like, no, I never expected any of my daughters to be virgins by the time they got married or anything.
Wow.
And that surprised me.
Well, and was she, I don't remember, was she Christian, or was she, because I remember you talked about, you know, going into the church, going through the parking lot, and, you know, your parents kind of like dragging you in. But so she was Christian, but she didn't expect you to make it to marriage and still be a virgin. That wasn't like the goal.
Well, I think for her, Christianity kind of, it was something that was impressed upon her, like, you've got to be married, you can't be living in sin, can't be shacking up, that kind of thing. So when she was dating my father in college, then it was like, when are we getting married? Because like we need
so even being sexually active was not necessarily a deal breaker, like something's wrong with you and your God, whatever. But if you're living in that state and not getting married, then you're not doing what's right.
Yeah, well, that's what she had internalized for herself. But I think she also meshed that with my father, who was a little more like apathetic. And once she got him to be like, okay, marry me or I'm leaving. That
Okay.
ultimatum made him like
Hmm.
tap in, but he
Mhm.
wound up being pretty controlling and like sort of taking over the mantle of the Christianity and like head of household.
Wow.
And, you know,
Wow.
so like, you have to have our clothes this way. We have to go to a church like this, and getting really like, I don't know, strict and militant about it. So I think when they divorced, when I was around like 9, then there was some element of like when she was so much freer after that. And that was
Got you.
in several
Okay.
different areas. So when she remarried, she was remarrying somebody who loved who she was, like loved her for her, didn't resent her, any of those things. So as we were going to church, we're still sort of like, there was taking us to new churches, you know? So
Gotcha.
there was still a level of openness that
Okay.
like exploration they kind of had.
That's actually great, because a lot of times people who are in that religious world, you don't get that kind of openness. You don't get that kind of encouragement to exploration.
Mm,
It's not this, hey, and once you get into it, and if you like it, marriage, should come soon after. It's no, marriage is first, and
mhm.
then the hanky panky.
Yeah.
And I wonder to what degree, y'all can talk to us in the chat, does Christianity or religions that push that purity thing, do they set people up for failure by pushing this idea of waiting until marriage?
Mm,
Like, at this point, I don't see marriage for me. We're going to talk about all that. But there's no way in the world I would even consider marrying somebody if we haven't had sex yet. Like, it's not going, like, it doesn't make any sense to me now. Whereas as a Christian, I'm gonna tell myself a whole lot through this episode. As a Christian, you better believe I was looking for a wife who was a virgin,
mm,
or a woman who was a virgin, so that I could wife her. But I wasn't a virgin.
mm.
And when you think about the Bible, think about how much pressure the Bible, or not pressure, prominence and prize the Bible puts on women
Yeah.
being virgins, and not just like, oh, she's a prize if she is. If she's not, you could stone her. But
Yeah.
there's nothing equivalent for men. Like, the men don't have to be virgins. That always stuck out in my mind is, why do they have to be virgins? But I can just, my body count can be sky high. But if she's got one,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like,
She's ruined.
yeah. So
Okay.
did
Go ahead.
any of those thoughts ever cross your mind when you were trying to figure out what does God want for you in your sex life?
I couldn't understand the double standard either, but I still thought that there was some worth tied to my virginity when I was a virgin. And so by the time it's so funny, the phrase even like, okay, so we've got the term virginity, like that's a special way of labeling somebody when they haven't had sex. But then when you have sex, it's like, where'd my virginity go? I don't know. I lost it, you know? So it's by the time I lost my virginity, which sounds really weird to say, I was upset because my first little college boyfriend, like, I couldn't quite tell, like, we're doing all of this stuff. Like, is his penis all the way in? Does he have to move it? Like, what happens next? Am I still a virgin? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, like, what have you done? You sullied me. I was trying to be like, Game of Thrones unsullied, this is some
Wow.
bullshit. You sullied me. That's really what I thought had happened. Like, he grossed me, like made me undesirable for others.
Wow. And this is why I love having conversations with women, because there are things that you all have to process that I would never have had to process as a man. Like, when I lost my virginity, well, so I'll talk about several things. If you have any feedback questions for me, feel free to throw them in there.
Yeah.
The first time I had sex I was in kindergarten, and I didn't know what was going on. A girl in my class, another 5-year-old, performed oral sex on me. I had no idea what she was doing. But when I intentionally engaged in sex, I was much older. I was probably around 13 or something. But it wasn't like I lost something or I became sullied. It was like high five to my friends who had set me up with this girl to cut school with, and I did it. And so like to the thought that you just expressed, I don't even know what that's like, but what does it say about a society that puts those, like, just think about a world that works that way, where when he finally loses his virginity, put him on your shoulders, carry him around the block. When she loses hers, Crystal, are you frozen? Uh-oh. She's texting. Sorry, guys. Okay. She's logging back in now. She's in Texas where their electrical grid is run by the governor in private industry. But yeah, so I'm like, just think about the world that does that to people. What is it like? Let me tell her, okay, sorry. Extrapolate that out. Here goes, John and Sally, right? John has sex for the first time. He gets a notch on his belt. Sally has sex for the first time and they're not married, has sex for the first time. She goes down a notch. Extrapolate that out, right? But then when I got religious, and I know some of the Christians don't like the term religious, when I became a Christian, when I started following Jesus, worshiping Jesus, being a disciple of Jesus, however you want to say it, it's almost like I got retroactive shame. Once I became a Christian, all the shame that like what Crystal and girls all over the world, young girls, when they have sex, the shame that they get, like, oh, I lost something. When I became a Christian, all the shame that I had been dodging and zigzagging around and missing out on because I wasn't in that kind of a worldview, when I became a Christian, all that shame found me. And so it's interesting because I think with young women, they get the shame whether they're religious or not, just because of how the culture is. Young men, when we become religious, it finds us, or we find the shame, or we realize, or we think, I should have been ashamed when I did those things. I'm still kind of slow walking, stalling, waiting for Crystal to come back in so we could talk about the shame. Let me look at some of y'all's comments while I'm waiting for her to log back in. My unique Monique says, yep, similar first time story. Is that it? Anybody in the chat, you had your first time was like actually lit? Like, not like, damn, that's what they're talking about, but like, yo, now I see why they're talking about it. I'll scroll down and see your answers to that in a second. I'm scrolling up right now. All right, I see the conversation y'all are having. My unique Monique says, I was proposed to after 4 months, and part of it was because we were failing at being celibate. Yeah, I mean, the number, I want to get Crystal back in this combo. The number of believers that I knew. I remember one time I was dating a woman when I was a Christian. This is back when I was fanatic from Cross Movement. I'll spill all the tea. I was in love with this woman, and the relationship became sexual. And because of all the shame that comes with it, I wanted to confess it to my Cross Movement group members. I wanted to confess it to the pastor of the church I was going to at the time, Eric Mason. And she was like, no, please, because she didn't want to be shamed. She didn't want to be embarrassed. She felt like she had failed. So she begged me not to tell anybody. And so after we broke up, she later went and told like the pastor of the church and other people, like, hey, we were sexually, she wasn't trying to get me in trouble or anything like that. She felt her soul had felt, and we were together for like a year, but her soul had felt burdened because all of the sinning we had done, and we weren't like having sex every week. And, we would maybe fall like once every other month throughout that year or something like that. So she unburdened herself to try to get the guilt off and confessed it. And then once she confessed it, I was like, okay, now I can go back and do the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to confess this the first time we quote unquote fell. And so I started hitting up Christians that I knew, people that I felt accountable to, like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, a year ago, I fell in sin with so-and-so. Da, 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 da. If I could tell you the number of Christians who confessed to me, oh, man, don't worry about it. Even though they were married at this point, when I was dating so-and-so, when I was dating this, I'm like, yo, wait, all this time I thought we was all holding it down. Like, y'all was doing your thing. Here I am killing myself with guilt because I'm thinking I'm not holding it down. I'm trying to see what's up with Crystal because she should be back on by now. Let me see. Oh no, she says not working, rebooting, and that was 2 minutes ago. Give me a second, guys. So yeah, what I want to do tonight is I want to talk about not just the shame, but the trauma of what comes with trying to. Okay, here she comes.
Hey. So
can you
yeah.
Can you turn your phone so that you're boom?
Lord.
There we go.
Okay. So yeah, I lost access to my laptop Wi-Fi, so I figured I would try from my phone just to get back in. But yeah, we're kind of losing the little horizontal loveliness. We want the both screens, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's good. There we go. So while you were going, I was saying to them, when I lost my virginity, there was no shame. There was no I'm sullied. I had gone up a notch. Now, I wasn't a Christian at the time, raised in a Christian household, but the morality had never really become my morality. So my friends gave me high five. My friends, celebrated me. But what I was saying when you were going was, when I became a Christian, though, it's almost like I made up for lost time and shame. All the shame I didn't get when my friends high-fived me, when I became a Christian, I sort of went back and heaped onto myself all the disappointment, all the shame, all the I was wrong that I didn't have before. And so I think if it's any consolation to women around the world, Christianity sort of does help level the shame playing field, because if you adhere to it, it has a way to make men feel just as bad about being sexually active as society makes women feel. Is that a comforting thought that the religion levels that playing field? No.
It's never a comforting thought to me when it's like, yes, let's have more people suffer, But I guess if I'm hoping for a little bit of empathy, then okay, maybe men can empathize a little bit.
Yeah. So we want to talk about some of the trauma that comes with. I get people that hit me up on Facebook in my DMs, and I made several posts about. There was a video where two gorillas were having sex in the zoo, and there's a school trip there, and they're watching this, and like, no, they're not shielding the kids' eyes. They're not like, hey, we got to go to another exhibit. They're watching these two gorillas get it on, and there was something very like almost human about like the position these two gorillas had chosen. It was like, yo, just like us. She reached back to like hold them steady. It was wild. And so I made this post and it was like you would think it was two people in a gorilla suit. That's how human it looked. It was crazy.
Oh, good grief.
But I made a post and I said, if you think about it, God watches more porn than anybody in all of existence. Anytime any creatures, if I'm, of course, I'm being facetious, giving God the benefit of the doubt that there is a God. But if there is a God, anytime anyone has sex anywhere, God's watching.
Yeah.
He's not just watching the stuff, the sex he approves of, Christians in missionary position, high five. He's watching ants, beetles, sinners, whoever they are, he's watching. God watches more porn than. So I was joking. I said, hey, I know a lot of Christians feel bad about watching porn, but if you think about it, if you're made in God's image, it's probably the most godly thing you can do. That's all God does is watch porn. But I don't know. I'm saying all that to say, so there was a Christian that hit me up, not Christian. He's an ex-Christian. He had left the faith. But when he saw that my page was going to be talking about stuff and mentioning porn, he was like, yo, I'm married and porn has been such a struggle for me, such an addiction for me, that even as a non-Christian now, I can't follow your page anymore if you're going to be talking about that, because I don't want it to trip me up and have me, mess up my marriage. I'm like, dang. So there's real consequences, I think, to people who were introduced to sex in ways that were not healthy, or in the religion, you took on this burdensome idea of what it means to enjoy not just sex, your own sex, but just that part of humanity. Like if I go to a sporting event and I watch the best basketball player play basketball, like there's no harm in me watching other people do something I enjoy. But if I'm watching two people have sex, it's like, no, that's bad. That's the sinful thing. That's the dirty thing. And I can't, and something bad's going to happen if I do that. There's all kind of trauma around the idea of sex, not just other people's, even our own sometimes. So I just wanted to broach this topic to talk about if you ever had the purity culture thing. And if you ever had the trauma that comes from thinking that religion is, that sex is dirty or bad, or how did you or how do you get over it? And this is not to say that people need to go watch porn or people need to go and, have open relationships and all that. But after you left the religion and no longer had the religion's code of ethics, did the way you saw and approached relationships and sex change, or did you just keep doing you because you weren't really tapped into the religion as you became more of an adult? What changed?
Okay, so we kind of left off where I was like, "Oh, you've sullied me, boy,"
Mm-hmm.
But I think after that, then it was kind of like, again, I think a lot of what my ideas were about sex, especially in my formative years, come from my mother. So for her to be like, well, birth control, what kind you using? So it was really more about like, do you want to have kids right now? Or do you want to like be safe from like various transmittable diseases? Then we're going to have to put some measures in place, because that's the way to like continue enjoying sex, is without all of those potential dangers or worries. So I had a blast. I mean, what I wound up doing is like still, like I still felt like I had to have a relationship pretty much in order to be having sex. But I think the second time I had it was with somebody that I was not in a relationship with, and I was like, now I am a woman grown. Like I really felt like I was grown up or something, because I didn't have like some like little boyfriend. I made a decision and I did that. I mean, it was awful. Like I couldn't feel anything, but I felt like the fact that I made the choice was the encouraging, empowering thing. Like I can choose what I want to do with my body, and I can try.
That's a great point.
Different men.
Yeah. Well, so there's a couple points in there I want to get to. The first one, the second one I'm gonna come back to is I can try different men. But the first point is you used sex for something that we're not taught that sex can be. Like we're often taught, especially on the religious side of things, that sex is for procreation. Sex is how the two become one. Sex, it can glorify God because he's the one that gave it to you. So yeah, it can be good. And if it's good, if you end up saying, oh God, it was really God that created that. So yeah. But the idea of using sex for something non-sex related, you used it for, I took control of me. I exercised my autonomy. I made a grown-up decision. I'm a grown-up. I don't think a lot of times we, even as post-religious folk, we don't think about the fact that it doesn't have to be just one thing. Like we got taste buds. Our taste buds evolved to help us realize, hey, it's not just, oh, this tastes good. If this tastes foul, it's either rotten or poisonous or something. Like our sense of smell, our taste buds really had one purpose, to keep us alive. But you can become a foodie with those same senses. You don't need to enjoy food the way that foodies do, but you're using those same taste buds for something different now. And I think I love what you said. The way you used sex in that instance was, it doesn't have to be for procreation. It doesn't have to be to this. This was me saying, I own my body and I can choose to do X, Y, and Z. I just think that's a brilliant point that's worth reflecting on.
Yeah, I think that might have been part of my transition away from Christianity, is realizing I own my body. It doesn't belong to men. And that it can't be dirtied. And I mean, like, I still don't have, I've like continued to work on that. And I don't really think there's such thing as a slut or something. Like, I don't, I mean, maybe if you kind of use the term a little bit, like, if you're already woke about it, then you can use it, you know what I'm saying? But if you really think that like people are hoes and sluts and stuff like that, then no, I don't want to talk to you about it. So I think that like, it's really those terms of like whore and, or it's, Southern sort of bastardization of hoe is, it's just really what labels men have put on women. And so even though we wind up trying to turn it back around in the last like generation or so, and maybe we even put the man on it. It's a man whore, because we know who the real whores are. You got to put the man on it. So like those kind of little modifiers. I just don't think that that's real. I just feel like how arbitrary it is. And that somebody can be considered a slut for sleeping with one person. It's just the one person that you didn't think that they should have been sleeping with. When you see a pregnant teenager, that is a person that others might consider a slut because they were with one person, whether that was consensual or not. So I was like, no, we're using this term like crazy. So I reject it. So that's another part, is rejecting what people like, sort of that mainstream type shit. Like, no, I reject those dynamics. So the empowerment, I get to choose the autonomy, right? And then also like, nah, I ain't really feeling all these terms y'all using. I think I'm gonna go my own way. I'm gonna make this up and do what feels like healthy and fun. It really did become about fun. So after a while, I remember like having so much fun in my 20s with like, I had some really good, cool lovers. And by the time I got to like my 30s and was still thinking I might get married or have kids or something, then I would just straight up tell a dude like, I feel some kind of little energy going on right here, but it seems like you may want to have sex with me, and I think I might want to have sex with you, but I only want to have it if I know I'm going to have a good time. So if you kind of know that you ain't really going to be trying to figure out how to help me have a good time, let's not even bother. I'll just kind of get my stuff and go home. You know what I mean? Like, it's no harm done, but please be honest with me. So it was like those kind of conversations. Yeah.
That's some grown folk conversation right there. Like, I don't think religion can prepare you for that kind of conversation, but I want to get the chat to comment on what we've been talking about, or what you were just talking about. Chat, do you still feel some kind of way if you're, I don't even know what to call it. Like, I don't want to call it like your body count, because that seems so immature, right? But if you've had sex with too many people, would you feel like Chris was sullied? Would you feel like I'm a slut, I'm a whore, or I'm doing something wrong? Talk to us, chat. And also, when you give your answer, let me know. How long have you been away from religion? And I would imagine that answer is going to change the longer you've been away from religion. Or do you still feel like, no, I still need to find that one person I'm going to be giving myself to? Do you still feel that way? And why? I had a guy on my Facebook page who said he's been married twice. He's deconverted now, but he married twice as a Christian.
Okay.
And he's still, to this point, even though he's not a Christian anymore, is still looking for a wife. But then he said, even though I don't know why, though. I don't know why I'm looking for a wife anymore. But look, when I deconverted for the first year or so, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, do I still have to get a wife? And what if I don't want a wife? Like, I don't feel like because I was sexually active during the years that I was slowly deconverting, but I hadn't owned it. Like, I think I was even using sex during the years 2018, 19, 2020. I think I was using sex similar to you, but different. It was about autonomy, but not about from the other gender. It was about autonomy from this idea of God. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And it wasn't like, God, you can't stop me. It was more like, if you're real, you'll challenge me. You'll step to me. You'll chastise me. You'll do something, but I don't think you are. And so I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to be real with y'all. One of my thoughts was, I don't think this is real. It might be. I don't think this Bible stuff is real. But if it's not, I'm not going to miss out. And so I became more sexually active just because, just in case it's not real, I'm not going to be the one down here missing out. And I kept it to myself, but I was getting it in. But that was me taking the autonomy.
And I love that for you, Brady. I love that for you.
Yeah. So like when people ask like, yo, how did you test this? I ran all kinds of tests, and sex was one of the biggest tests I ran. Because if I truly belong to this Bible God, he chastens those whom he loves. Like, not a damn thing happened. I was like, so either you don't love me or you're not there. Like, what's going on? Yo.
Yeah. Or she loves you and you're not doing anything wrong if he exists. Right?
You know what? I don't even think those kind of thoughts, but you're right. That's another option. Maybe God's there and God's like, maybe God's giving me the high five like my friends used to.
Maybe. But yeah, I think that the idea of sex is so huge, and bound with Christianity, right? So I'm now realizing, over the course of this conversation, that part of kind of like you were also just saying, moving away from how Christians tend to think of sex is a big part of deconstructing Christianity. And that to deconstruct Christianity, it's almost like, if you still think that you can only be with one person forever and all that other kind of stuff, and this man needs to lead me and whatever, then I feel like you haven't finished. You haven't finished deconstructing. That's what it feels like. I can't really say whether somebody has or hasn't, but that's what it feels like. It feels like unfinished. There's still a lot lingering there, which is why it's so important to have secular therapy and things like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It still got you, boo.
Well, you know what's crazy? I've been doing this channel since 2022. So 4 years now I've been doing this channel. And will be 4 years later on this year. And it's all about deconstructing. But I hardly ever have mentioned or talked about deconstructing how I looked at sex. For myself personally, I did it, but I never did it publicly. But I always get people asking, how do you deal with the idea of sex now that you're not a Christian? What do you do with guilt? What do you do with shame? What do you do with making sure that you're healthy, like you said, protected and all that? What do you do with self-pleasure, like pleasuring yourself? And I'm curious for you, before leaving religion, was there ever any guilt associated with, if you ever did, self-pleasure, or a lot of guilt from the religion or from something else?
I think it could have been like the religion and just sort of I don't know. I just felt embarrassment, even though there's nobody there, I'm like 13 or something, it's just, so I couldn't,
Oh my
I couldn't do it. And I was like reading these like romance novels that my neighbor like across the street gave to me inappropriately. So I had this little set of, like romance novels, and there would be like these sex scenes written into them. And I think at one point my mother caught me, and my parents also had books that had sex scenes in them, like Westerns and stuff. And I would like wait till nobody was looking, go to the bookshelf, grab that, go up to my, on the top bunk bed. Cause we had like, my stepdad had built us like the kind of bunk beds that have nothing underneath. So you could have like desks and stuff under there. Right. And so I could be up there. And that means if anybody walked in the room, I'm too high for them to see what I'm reading or doing, right? So I have enough time to, or be like, what's going on, And for that, one time my mom did catch me, and she was like, I don't want you to necessarily read those books because there's sex scenes in them, and I don't know if that's something that you're ready for. So I don't know, like, let's hold off on that. Like she did say, like intervene when I was, in middle school. And so even with all the tingly feelings, I was like, what do I do? I didn't know what to do. I thought you had to like finger yourself. And I was like, the angles ain't right. Like, what is happening? So I couldn't bring myself to put my finger in there. So I was like, well, I'll just kind of tug on my pubes near the clitoris, like I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like,
but you knew the different parts of your body.
What?
You knew the different parts of your body, your anatomy, though. You knew or did you? Because you just mentioned the clitoris, but
I knew my vagina. I knew that because I had my period and I was using tampons. But I didn't know why the tingliness around where like my urethra is like, I couldn't figure that out because the clit is so close to the urethra, right? And so I was like, why does it feel so like tickly and almost like I need to pee here, but I don't feel that like closer to the vagina, right? So I had figured that much out. When it came to like playing around with somebody else, he didn't know what he was doing and neither did I. So there wasn't anything that felt good. He thought he had to finger me too and was like, we were just out in the desert because that was the only way we could kind of get away from, eyes of adults in New Mexico where I grew up. So yeah, by the time I figured out masturbation, it was in college after I had started having sex. And then some of my partners, like one or two of my boyfriends, introduced me to porn, like porn with Black people, not like the generic 70s water nymph porn. So yeah, like of like white bodies and bushes, so it was, Black people. And I was like fascinated, like Black people do their own, and I decided like on my couch one time, I was like, this is sexy stuff. Like, what if I do what my boyfriend does? Like, what if I do it to myself? Like, let me just see. And I tried it and was like, this is great. Like, so ever since then, I've been like, all right, I'm good. Like, I only come from clitoral stimulation. So the penetrative, like, P and V kind of sex is like, yeah, that's fun because we're like doing stuff together and it's cool. And sort of some of the, like the positions and like the power play and almost like dopamine and things like from wrestling and like all those other weird pieces are kind of there for sex, and like being really close with somebody. And if you like them, like being physically close to them, then you're like, oh, it's like their sweat and their breath and their hair. And it's like all this stuff. And it might be a little overwhelming, but it's also kind of cool because then it's like my sweat and my stuff. And so you can be sort of like, you're being gross because you're supposed to like wash yourself and nobody ever sees you sweat and nobody ever, And so here you guys both are being all sweaty. And it's like, like that even of itself is a little bit like we're doing something different that we only sharing with each other right now in this moment. So I pretty much
I want to put this comment in here with what you're saying. He said sex is just better because it touches all 5 senses, but I think it's important to realize it's not just the 5 senses. There's a 6th sense, your sense of self. So like Crystal was just talking about with the dopamine release and all the endorphins and everything that's happening inside of you, as well as like you just talked about, you empathizing with or you trying to please this other person and seeing the reflection. There's senses that are not just the empirical that are being touched in that process. And so, there's all kind of reasons why we ought to be paying attention to what sex can do and be. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. Like, absolutely. There's all of those different pieces come into play. And I think that even the fact that you're, I don't know, like getting to, like you're working out, you're exercising, right? Like almost. So like you said, the endorphins that come with that, all these muscles and things that like you're using, whether internally or like inner thigh muscles or lower back muscles and all this other stuff that's kind of like, like this is an interesting way to do it. And I realize now, like I'm pretty clear now, like when I'm with a man or more than one person, it's like when I'm having sex, I think that I know for sure, like part of what needs to happen is clitoral stimulation. Otherwise, you can keep it. Like I'm not interested. Whether like I'm okay. I'm very, very comfortable doing that to myself. And so like playing with myself, having a great time by myself. I know I'm gonna come 50 million times back to back, and like I'm gonna be great. So to kind of figure out like how we're going to have like that interaction and that play is important, because I've been with, guys who are like, using a wand or something, and I'm like, yay. And then their penis isn't even in me anymore. And they're like, really? Like, and the thing is still buzzing. And they're like, really? Like seeing how long I would go without noticing that they were no longer inside of me. And I'm like, are you trying to make me feel bad? Like, this is, what are you upset for? Whereas other guys have been like, what the fuck? Like, he missed out because this is great. Like watching you is great. Playing with you is great. So like going with, trying different things with different people is so, so important, at least to me. And so I don't understand somebody who's like, I came straight out the gate with my high school love. We got married. They're all I've ever known. I'm like, well, hopefully
for some people
are amazing with you, and you guys are amazing together.
You know what? I was going to say, for some people that works and that's great. And I'm trying not to say anything that's going to make somebody think the grass is greener on the other side, but I do want to have a real conversation. For some people that works and that's great. But part of the reason why that may be great, if it is great for them, I don't know. But if it is great, is you don't know, you can't miss what you don't know about. And so if you've never watched porn, or if you've never had other lovers or whatever, you don't even have the competition. And I think for some people that works out best for them, to not have to be worrying about, oh man, now that I've had this other experience, now I'm going to compare these two. But there's several things that you talked about. I want to go back and I'm trying to remember what it was now. Hold on. So you talked about finishing yourself and knowing that you're okay with that. A woman that I was with recently, So maybe in the chat, y'all could talk to us too, but a woman that I was with recently, she challenged me to stop masturbating because she was like, you're so used to finishing yourself. I want to finish you, but you like, because I've gotten used to finishing myself, she's like, maybe somebody else is not going to do it for you. You need to get unused to finishing yourself. That way you can be stimulated by somebody else. Do you think there's any merit to that? And I'll tell you about the conversation I had with her after.
I've heard that quite a bit, and I've thought about it, and I'm kind of like, ¿por qué? Like, why? Because while the idea is kind of nice, there's not really any reason, like, it's not that compelling to me to like abstain in order for this other thing to happen. And if somebody else really needs that other thing to happen, then maybe we're not as compatible as we'd like to think, because that means like maybe something else is caught up in it, like their ego or their need for something. Because I know that I kind of need to be compatible with somebody who's like, hell yeah, let's go for what you know.
Right. Now, see, I don't know if that's a good, and I skipped over several other questions I wanted to ask. We're just now getting right into the nitty gritty, but I don't know if that's a bad thing, because like I said, for this particular woman, there's actually two of the last women that I was with. They're like, maybe it is an ego thing, but like they want to know that they can please their man. And so if I've got to finish myself, it almost feels like, it's not like, then why am I here? It's almost like, then I'm not doing something right if I can't finish. So they wanted to make sure that so is there any room, and in the chat, y'all could talk to us. Do you feel like there's something amiss if a person says, I'm better finishing myself? No, I still want you here. Like, don't leave. Like, but I'm better at finishing. Maybe you can leave now. No, because I told this woman, like, no, I want you here. Like, I need you here. Like, but I just know what it's going to take. And part of the reason why, maybe I'm saying way more than I should be saying on this kind of stream, but part of the reason why I get involved and finish myself is like, no, I don't want to stress you out. Because I know it might take a while. Like my stamina is, I can go for quite a while. So I'm like, I don't want to stress you out. Let me help you out here. And they're like, I don't want to need the help. I want to, is it bad to need to finish yourself? Or is it like Crystal just said, like, no, it's not. I just know that this is what does it for me. And who better? Like, I know how to do it, rather than you sitting there messing around for 20 minutes trying to figure something out.
Not messing around, Brady. But yes. It is like trying to take shots in the dark. How about this? To the left? Like, yeah, it's slower, faster. Yeah, let's see what chat has to say about that, because
hold on, for the vertical stream, can you move to your, it looks like, can you move to your, yes, that way the vertical stream can see you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I have to stay like kind of centered a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. I'm go ahead, you were saying.
Yeah. I was thinking about, there would be a part of me, I suppose, if I was with somebody, particularly more than once, and there hadn't been one single time ever where some part of my body didn't make them come, then I might be like, But if if through conversation they're still like, I'm having a blast, are you? And then I would be like, yeah, absolutely, but is it okay if we try? Like, I might still want to try something. And so I've tried, there's been a couple of times where I'm like, I want to try this, I want to try that. Like, I want to watch you and see if I can mimic that same thing. Or what if I stand behind you and then like use my hands, like, because that would be more natural and more like the way your hands would feel, like where your finger position would be and all of that, than trying to be like your mirror, So there's, like stuff like that. Like, I might try some things just out of like curiosity, but try not to take it personally if that's not the way they operate.
Yep, got you. Um, I thought I saw a comment I was trying to get to, but I can't. I mean, I wanted to get to. I can't find it. Um, I'm throwing several of them in the screen, but there was one I saw that made me think I needed to go back to it. Oh, it was the last one. I only know how to take care of my own business. I'm worried since I'm used to that, then it would be a problem having someone else there. But I love what Crystal was saying, like even having, well, she said something, but I'm also thinking something. Having someone else there, like, I think it is an ego thing to say, no, I want to be the one to get you there, especially if it's not just straight penis and vagina, sex. Like, again, you're doing a bunch of other things. And if it doesn't get you there, it's like, to stay in the moment, to stay in the mix, I'm still concerned about you having the best time. Like, just to have that kind of openness and willingness and, you know what I mean? The adventure of it all, as opposed to checking out. Why are you laughing? What are you thinking?
No, I'm like totally agreeing with you. I'm like, yes, the adventure of it all. Yeah.
So what are you saying, Brady? You might need to take. Hold on. You might need to take a break for like a week, but not like a whole month. Break from what? Oh, I know this. Well, see, this is the thing. One of the things I learned about me is, like, I don't know how real we're gonna get, but I like the moment of climax is so much better if I have waited a week or 2 weeks. And so once I begin to like be really sexually active, I also learn, but I can't be doing this every day, and I can't be like I masturbate probably like once a month. But for the most part, I'm waiting like a week or 2 weeks to be with somebody because I want that explosive, like, it's been 2 weeks, it's going to feel amazing times 2 weeks, when we get to that point. So I do take breaks. And one of the things I realize is, when I was a Christian, it was so beat into my head that I was a sinner and that I was wretched and had, no good thing built within me, and I just couldn't do right. And yeah, I had the Holy Spirit, and he was supposed to be giving me this spiritual gift of self-control, but I never had self-control. I had one of the hardest times telling myself no as a Christian. Where the hell's the Holy Spirit at? There were other ways where I could have swore I had the Holy Spirit. I'm bold in my faith, and I have contrition after I sin, and all the ways I thought I had the Holy Spirit, but never for the self-control part. Then when I deconverted, and I start as I'm deconverting and as I'm exploring my sexuality, now all of a sudden I can go a month without sex. I can go 2. Why do I have all this self-control now that I've given myself a goal of trying to build up to this explosive sexual climax? But now that I've got this goal, all of a sudden I got self-control. And it made me like, damn, so wait, all this time I was waiting for it to come from above. I just wasn't properly motivated. Properly motivated, I can go 2 months without sex. So anyway, to the point of the person that made the comment, I don't know if it's that. Like, I really do like space it out. And when I'm in relationships and they want to have sex more often, like, I got to find other ways to, like, make sure they have a good time so that I'm still not having sex every single day. You know what I mean? So I've said a whole lot, but any thoughts, comments?
Yeah, like, okay, I haven't had, I don't know, I haven't really quite had that. Well, that's also because because I'm also at the point where I'm like, meh. So even when I've been in a long-term relationship, I don't want to cohabitate with somebody. I know marriage is not in the cards for me.
Okay.
I don't want to merge any life infrastructure, so we're definitely not going to be living together. So we're going to see each other. I'm okay with seeing my person once a week.
Okay.
And so if there's on one hand, it's at the beginning of the relationship, I'm kind of like, yo, like, I waited a whole week. Like, if we don't get it in, like at some point during this weekend, like I am gonna feel away, you know. But then after like a few months or something, then I'm like, it's okay if we don't have sex this time, you know, and you know, we can catch it on the next go round or something like that. But no, at first it's like, yeah.
So I think one of the first two times you were, one of the first two times you were on Ichabod, I don't remember which time. I think you mentioned there, because I don't know if it would have been anywhere else. I don't know. Can I mention that? Can I talk about your relationship style? What relationship style you prefer?
Yes.
So somewhere you mentioned open relationships. Is that what you're into?
My relationship orientation is solo polyamory. So I'm solo poly, or sopo, some people might say, but solo polyamory, from what I understand and what it means to me, is similar to what I just described. It's that you prefer to be solo, like that you are invested, like you love the connectedness, the warmth and connectedness of relationships, but not necessarily wanting to merge life infrastructure and like, oh, okay, well, after 6 months we need to move in, and after, you know, a year there needs to be a proposal, and then we need to get married, and like we don't have to move along our culture's relationship escalator. You know, first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby carriage. So I'm okay with being just living by myself, me, my big dog, like me and Bernice, you know. But if I am in a relationship with somebody, that to me I'm not monogamous about it. And so I'm very clear about that. You know, while I'm in relationship with you, you're still free to date other people. I'm still free to date other people. Just making sure like that's clear. And how do we want to engage with that if we are going to be dating others? For a while, I did prefer like dating men who are already in other relationships, because my once a week thing meant that I didn't have to feel pressured to like be with them, spend all this time, have all this sex, do all the things, you know, have them over so much that I'm like cleaning pee stains. Like I didn't want any of that. Like I wanted to let their main person, their wife, their girlfriend, their whoever, take care of that, and then we're still dating or you're visiting me, you know.
But that doesn't make you a secondary. If I'm doing that
with more than one person, I can balance it.
Does that make you a secondary in that relationship, or is that I'm still learning about the whole?
It depends on how people view those relationships. Like for me, I don't really like relationship hierarchy because it does feel kind of shitty. So if there's somebody who's like, my wife comes first, my kids come first, then I'm kind of like, because I don't like kind of need the other weird shit that comes with that, like sort of treating me secondary. I don't want to be sort of a second-class citizen in this dynamic. I don't want to be on a shitty texting schedule. You know, like I don't want to be like my day is Wednesday, but then you kind of keep moving my day around or skipping my day. Like, no, like we need to have a Google Calendar so we see everybody's fucking days, or you know, like be consistent with it and like honor our time. So I get why I want, you know, I get why somebody might elevate their relationship with somebody who they have merged that infrastructure with and how much they've invested time and money and all of that. But if you can not sort of afford the kind of energy and like fun, if you're going to still be like, I'm so tired because, you know, I'm a dad. Bye. No, like my family, we're going on vacation and we, so like, where are we? Am I coming along or not? Like, I just want, like, I want that honesty. And if I feel like I'm kind of being put to the side, shit's gonna fizzle out, like I'm gonna have to end it. not even fizzle out, because I like a clean cut. I don't like any ambiguity.
So do you want
So
any of the
we're gonna
other
have to have
stuff
that
that
conversation.
comes? Do you want any of the other stuff that comes with the relationship? Like aside from the, and once again, you slid out the frame for the vertical. I don't know if you can see the vertical. Yeah.
Now? Okay.
Yeah. Can you see it?
I can't, I
In
took it
StreamYard?
off my screen. There were so many pictures of
Okay.
me and you. Let me put it back so that I can make sure. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
it is
There
like,
you go.
okay.
Wait, what was I saying? Aside from just the day of week that you get, that y'all give each other, because it's not like them giving you a week. Y'all have a day for each other. Aside from that, in your solo poly, because I recently flirted with the whole poly lifestyle. I'll tell you how that went in a second. But do you want anything else other than that one day? Like you said, you don't want to be on a weird texting schedule. What is the relational aspect of the poly part? Like, are you getting to know each other? Are you spending any time together that's not sexual? Or like, what's that like?
Yeah, I still want to be like dating, spending time, being connected. Let me think. Like, okay, remember when we had that crazy like winter freeze, a few years back? Like that was a time where I was dating someone, and like dating this couple, and I really appreciated that. Like, I didn't have running water, I didn't have electricity. Me and Bernice were huddled, and he like said, "Come over to our place. We do have running water, we do have electricity. So come on over." And so like that, I loved that, like that we were there for each other.
Gotcha.
And I like what is it called? Like breakfast table polyamory or something like that. Like basically a term where we can all like sit around the breakfast table together. I like that. I have not liked dynamics or relationships where it felt like there might be somebody who was not as open and who's kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this, or I don't know if I want to see who she is. And I'm like, you, sir, are not ready for what's happening here, because you are still entangled. You're still with a person who isn't sure. Are you out? Do your parents know? Because I don't want to do no closeted shit. Like, I really don't want to be hidden. And this is, I don't know, Matthew's special friend. I'm not, no, stop. So like, if you're comfortable, then let's be all the way comfortable. I want to be able to like laugh and talk, or, like have drinks or whatever, or gummies or something with your other people. And like, if there's other like people who are also polyamorous, like, okay, we all having a dinner party, like, come on. Like, I don't like being with somebody and they bring me around their little friends and stuff, and nobody knows who I am, but they see that like the guy is getting me and his girlfriend drinks, and they're kind of like, what's that about? You need to be out.
So you don't want to be poly with somebody who's not open and out about their polyness.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I was flirting with the idea of polyamory recently, and it probably for me would be solo poly as well. But my relationship style preference is serial monogamy, because for me it's just I like the idea of let's have relationship for as long as we want to have relationship. Like, I like the things that relationships, the exclusive relationship, I like what it is until I don't. And I've been fortunate enough to at least a few times find people who they were at least at first okay with that as well. Like, we can treat this relationship I'm not going out with anybody else, you're not going out with anybody else, but we're not so locked into this that it has to always be this. This is for right now and for as long as we want it to be. And if either one of us has and it changes the way I approach relationships, either one of us has the right and ability to at any time say, this isn't it for me anymore. And the other one can at most say, dag, I wish we'd have gave it a couple more, months, but we said it. All right, that's what's up. The Christian me would have never been okay with something like that. Like, if you get with somebody, especially if you have sex with, like, that's for life. I didn't buy into the idea of soul ties, but it was like, no, once you like them, like, for life. I'm like, no, let's make it good for as long as both of us want it to be good. And the second one of us doesn't anymore. Yo, it was fun, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Like, cool. But even in that, though, I have a caveat. If either one of us wants to see other people during that time, that's fine with me. I have one stipulation. Everybody that I see, be tested for STIs, STD often. Because for me, it's a selfish thing. I don't like using condoms. Like, to me, that's the wackest sex in the world. But I love having a world full of sexual partners. So I'm like, I'm going to be tested monthly. You be tested monthly, and not no screenshots or no fake. No, I need to go into your health portal or your STD check.com. I need to go into the portal and see that it's real results. And we will. But and in both cases, neither of us was sexually active with other people. But we had the freedom to do so if we wanted, just under those stipulations. Make sure everybody's tested. I don't need to meet them. This is not going to become no pop. And that's how I've been living for the last couple of years.
Yeah, like those last couple of pieces sound very similar and familiar to me. Like, this is an at-will relationship. So either one of us can determine at any time that we'd like to go our separate ways. And if anything changes, like, let's have that conversation. I think that other piece about getting tested, that's another spot where a lot of guys lose out. I think to me, they do. I mean, like, you losing out on so much pussy, like enjoyable pussy and experiences, because you drag your feet on getting tested. And after like a couple of weeks or something, I've already got like, I'm down, like, let's go. Like, the fact that I'm even like, let's go, that should be enough for you to be also like, yay, we should be yay about each other. And so if I'm, doing a little pew to the clinic and getting all my stuff, give me the full workout, give me the pound, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you taking 3 weeks, a month, I'm like, oh, I'm over it. Because you are either trying to wait me out, and I find that so disrespectful, like, to both of our health and well-being. And this disrespectful to me, like, if I just take long enough, I can still get it without the stipulations. And then I just also think, like, or you're not, I guess you don't feel like it's as much of a priority, and that's okay. Like, if you're not able to get yourself to the clinic and do all the stuff, then life is life, and then now's not the time.
Right.
It's okay. Maybe our paths will cross again, but just be real about it. Don't just try to talk around it or see if you can still slide in a tongue or a finger or two before that. No. Like, don't, no.
Somebody had a comment. They said Brady's idea about serial monogamy is, hold on, let me find it again. I had it on the screen. Where'd it go? Brady's idea about serial monogamy is dope, or something like that. I'm remembering it. But then they said, but what about kids? What if kids are involved? Now, I do think that changes things for me. Once kids are involved, I think that change, if you allow kids to be involved, because it's not like kids just have to be involved, but if you allow kids to be involved, to me, that changes. I don't know what it changes, because for me, that's just not in the plans. I don't inseminate women. I don't trust the, birth control, or I don't inseminate women. So I don't think about that. But I do think if kids are in the picture, or especially if they're coming into the picture because of you all's union, that doesn't mean you need to get married. It just probably means you're going to have to be much more intentional about what that relationship is going to be like. You can still be serially monogamous, even if you're not being monogamous with your baby's mother or father anymore. But you just have to be socially responsible with now y'all created a life now that's on both of y'all. So I don't really know too much to say about that.
Are you open to dating women who have children?
Yes and no.
Okay.
For a year, almost about a year, I was dating a woman who's got a son. Ideally, no, just because I just, especially if they're a young child, like like I said, I want to be doing relationshipy things. And if you can't do X because you don't have a sitter, or, you know, there's all kind of issues that come up that I'm just like, this is selfish of me, and I know it. My life is set up for leisure right now. And the less stressful I can make my life, I'm going that direction. And it's selfish, but I don't see me inviting a woman with kids into my world.
I'm very much similar. Like I prefer to date men who do not have kids, or if their kids are already grown or something, then like I'm kind of like, I'll allow it, you know. But I'm like, I want to, like, if I want to, I'm in a job where I get plenty of breaks, and so can we go to Cancun or not? Like, like I want to know, like, are you, I don't know, like sort of free enough or flexible enough to where we can have these experiences together without necessarily being, hindered by other lives. So keep in mind, I've got a pet, right? I've got my dog Bernice, and so when guys want to make it work, then they're like, okay, let me find the hotels that also accept dogs, or let's where do you like to board her, because that we want to make sure she's well taken care of. Bernice finna go to the doggy spa, so we can be out of town for a few days.
I'm laughing because I'm laughing because I also I feel the same way about women with pets. Like you got
like, nope.
You can't just come over and spend the night because you got to go walk the dog. You got to walk the dog in the morning. Like it's
okay. No, not that. Now she has a pet door. So she could she good for like 24 hours, like I just feel a little bad leaving her like that. But no, when it comes to spending the night or something, no, I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna sleep in and all that. Because she can go in and out the house like as needed. And if you got the automatic feeder and timer and water and all that, then you set, sis. Like you set. But yeah, with kids you can't do that. You can't like there's some hot pockets in there, and I'll see y'all in 24 hours. Like, no.
Hey, we're about to come in for Atlanta. Y'all got any questions for myself or Crystal W? Get the questions in the next minute or two, and we'll respond as best we can, and then we'll let y'all go have a grand night. My unique Monique, did you realize the mic didn't go out at an hour and 15 minutes in? Because right before that point, I did my little unplug and replug thing. So I just have to be mindful of that from now on.
Oh, I wanted to ask you a couple questions.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm curious about, do you think that Christianity gets anything right when it comes to sex?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. I hesitate to say this because I'm like, am I going to want to walk this right back in a minute? I'm trying to get to this one question I had that I wanted to get to. Well, we know angels can't have sex with women. What else did it get wrong? I think it's easier to talk about the things that got wrong. All the rapey stuff and does it get anything right about sex? That's a great question. there's a part of me that wants to say I think it gets something right about marriage, but then I'm like, even that's a little like, I mean, I can see your face.
I know it's a little too ownership-y for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. But so to the question that was asked in the chat about, when kids are involved, I do think if marriage could be what it's sold to us as, like this stabilizing force in society. Now look at France, right? Very many open marriages in France, and France is like they've seemed to not tear their society apart just by adopting polyamory or things like that. So maybe I'm too Christianized, too westernized in thinking that what marriage does for stabilizing society is like the only way you could have possibly done it.
I'm really impressed with you for like coming that like through that, working your way through that, because then I was thinking like, how stabilizing has it been? That nuclear family thing around the 50s, like after the war, like 2 world wars and all of that, that was one thing that was sold to us. But in times when these, biblical texts were written, it wasn't really to stabilize. It really was about ownership. Like, I want to make sure that you can give me more sons and that all my sheep and land and everything go to them, and I want to make sure that my sons, like the sons that you bear, are not from anybody else. So I think I have to kind of own you and live with you and spend the most time around you. So I'm willing to purchase you
I'm ready
and
to drop
give
an
the dowry
offering
and have your father give you away to me.
Yo, hey, hold on for a second. I don't know if it's the gummies or your studies as a woman's liberation. I've never thought in a million years to look at biblical marriage or just ancient marriage that way. Like, I was still telling myself the naive myth of the stabilizing force that marriage, and I do think socially today it's sold that way. But to look at it like, no, she was a means to an end. This wasn't about stabilizing society. This was about inheritance. This was about land. This was about, and she was a means to an end. I'm not buying her because I'm horny. I'm buying her because this is an investment. She's going to give me the children that are going to allow me to pass on my wealth and run my land. And
yes,
yo, I'm gonna be up for a while thinking about that. Damn.
Yeah. So that part also, like, she can take care of the house. Like, I've only been with my own mother, and if I want somebody to like feed me and do the cooking and cleaning, I need to purchase a maid, but I need to also be able to have sex with her. Like, I need somebody who's going to do this labor and then also like raise the children. And part of it is the horniness because, sorry, but y'all will fuck anything. Sorry. And so, yes, they was fucking the sheep and everything else, but sometimes they want a woman, And I think that, like you said, because of the legacy, I fucking hate that word, but like the legacy and wanting to pass their wealth and their name and all this and that, and generations upon generations and 7 times 7 of whatever, they're going to need women to do that. And so that's why I think one of the biggest aims of the Bible is to make women feel like shit, and that's all that they're really good for. So you're supposed to be helpful. You're a helpmate. You came from our rib, like you're just one little piece of us. And as I've mentioned before, like even being born through a woman, that's sinful. That's the dirty way. Your natural birth is gross. If we want to be done the right way and to be cleansed, you need to be reborn through a man. God can do that for you. Jesus can, wash you white as snow and all that good stuff. So y'all are unclean. I don't know what else to tell y'all women.
Yeah.
So having having to work through all of that, like basically reading all this book and studying this book that tells you how shitty you are. Having to deconstruct all of that is part of deconstructing Christianity. Like becoming a feminist is deconstructing Christianity. And that would be for men, women, all genders to see the value in all people and want for them to have equal rights, or at least like similar odds and chances of being able to be successful and do well in society, and be happy and healthy. Like that is feminism. And to have that kind of intersection, you have to deconstruct and leave behind Christianity, because Christianity's aim was never to have women be partners with men.
Yeah.
So you have to like unlearn a lot of that. That includes some of the parts that the Bible mentions about the oldest profession in the world, sex work, and how disgusting they make it seem that women who are giving the men what it is they want, but they're giving it to more than one man. It makes it seem like they're gross, but somehow they keep being in business, right? Like prostitutes keep being in business somehow, right? And I heard somebody say the other day, like basically maybe it was it was something either you shared or now she's now our mutual friend. She was on the last panel. She shared something about basically saying like marriage is a type of sex work, right? Yeah, it's
sister?
like this elevated version of sex work. Who's that? Who was your friend who did that? Do you remember?
I think that was either my sister. The only other the women on the panel was you, my sister, and my unique Monique.
Okay. So what is your sister's name?
Ty Goodwin.
Yep, it was Ty. I believe it was Ty. So I didn't know that was your sister. Goodwin. Okay, got it. So so yeah, I really loved that perspective, because I'm like, yes. You're not like marital status is seen like as some elevation, like, oh, look, girls, you know. What are you really gaining? Like you get to have like 7 years knocked off your life, like so that you can like cook and clean for this person and all of your offspring. You're maybe trying to say you have stability. Maybe you're trying to say, I don't know. You're basically saying you got chosen, but you're like, there's so much that's fucked up with marriage that to have a good one where people are like they respect each other and respect their children is it's I think a more rare balance than what we make it seem. And more often than not, it really is just a type of exchange. It's a type of sex work, really. So
Wow. Yeah. It's almost at an hour 30. I don't think I saw any questions come in, but y'all been chatting it up in the chat. So we're going to leave it there. But the last Friday of every month, I'm going to be doing Sex After Faith. Crystal, you're welcome to come back on anytime. I think I'm going to try to go woman, then man, then woman, then man, then woman, then man in my guests. But thank you so much for sharing your time. I know you got some stuff to do. Hope you have a great night. And I hope y'all have great sex and figure out what great is for you. Peace.